What's up, fellas? How are y'all?
What's up, man?
Hey, what's happening?
So look, we're back. Tequila Talk, special holiday edition. It's hot as hell outside, and we're in December. We're about to drink some tequila.
Yeah.
Oh man. So look, it's been 2 months since we did this last time. We had that really nice signature bottle on.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I have learned more in the last 2 months by doing research on lots of different ones because we knew we were going to do this again. So I was like, okay, let me look at this brand, let me look at that brand, and I even joined a couple groups, like Facebook groups and stuff like that. But I'm going to tell you this: whenever somebody asks, "How is this tequila?" Okay, that's like asking somebody, "Is this band any good?"
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I don't know. What kind of music do you like?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because if all you listen to is like Tejano and it's Snoop Dogg, it may not be your cup of tea.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when I see people ask, hey, how's this tequila? And people will respond, oh, that's junk or that's crap. Leave it on. And I'm like, try it. See if you like. I mean, so for me, for somebody to say to recommend tequila or not recommend tequila, a lot of it depends on what do they like.
Yeah, it's all personal preferences. People's palates are all different.
Yeah.
Something that I enjoy might not necessarily be something that you're going to enjoy also.
Well, we brought this up too so many times, and like for the people that are listening or watching who aren't, the avid tequila drinker like we are,
Yeah.
they're always gonna turn their nose up to anything, unless it's in a margarita or if it's a Patron shot. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it makes it hard anyways.
I saw, and that's one thing. I saw somebody ask about what's a good price for tears, and people were like, "Oh, this and that." And I said, "You know what? Whatever you paid for it."
Yeah.
And honestly, whatever you paid for it, and it's not a discount tequila, so don't try to find it at a discount. It's like, oh, you know what? I want to drive this, this Ferrari, but I really only want to pay, Mercedes price for it. Well, guess what? It's not going to be a very good Ferrari because it's probably got a wrecked title and everything.
We had that one really it was an 1800 Anejo on last time, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Good
it was like
marketing.
$80 bottle, so you never know what you're going to get. So I don't know. What do you guys?
What did you bring? Let's talk what we brought.
Let's do it. So I had this Arete, this tequila. This is a Reposado, and then this is probably mid-level. It's like a $40 bottle. I don't know anything about it at all. I've been seeing it on a shelf. A friend of ours at Corsica's had this, so I grabbed it from him. And then you're gonna have to pronounce this the right way here because I can't. But this is the high end Anejo I have.
It's Sol y Luna, so Sun and Moon, Leyenda de Mexico.
Yeah. Leyenda de Mexico, Legend of Mexico.
Okay.
There
you go.
I love the bottle though, man.
Yeah.
This bottle is beautiful, and it's heavy too.
Yeah.
So it's so nice.
So that's what I got, man. What do you guys got?
Well, I'm going to save him for last because he always seems to bring the best stuff. But I brought this Lagritonia, and my daughter gave me this bottle, and I love it because first of all, it's a hand blown glass. It's got that old school,
Swing top.
yeah, whiskey, that old moonshine type thing. They make their own bottles. It's a woman-owned tequila distillery.
Wow.
And I don't know a lot of women-owned anything in Mexico. And it's a really neat item, and I've done a little research on it. But again, I did research, and then people say, oh, it tastes this or tastes that. So I'm like, well, I'll figure out how I like it. And then I got this El Tesoro Extra Añejo, which I know this one is aged in whiskey barrels, primarily Jack Daniel's barrels.
Okay.
And this is bourbon. So I'm not sure which bourbon it is, but this is the Extra Añejo. And from what I'm understanding, this is actually really, really good stuff. So we'll see how that comes out.
I'm excited about that one for sure. So I just have the Artenom Selección 1414, and this is just a Reposado tequila that I actually picked up here in town. Super excited to try this. I've heard great stuff about this whole line. And then we have the Clase Azul, which is getting a lot of hype right now. And I don't know what it is about the brand. I guess it's I think every bottle is hand drawn, so all that kind of stuff. I think they actually just launched a mezcal brand also. So there's a lot of hype behind the name. So we're gonna see what it's about.
Hell yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
Well, look, let's. I know I have probably one of the cheapest bottles, so let's start with that. Let's start with this one, man. Jose, you got a cup over there?
Yeah,
Yes. Nice. Of course you do.
And this is a reposado?
It's a reposado. It's the only reposado on this episode. I apologize. I didn't get to
This is a reposado also.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And this is a reposado actually.
Is it? Okay.
Yes, yeah. I don't think you could find the Añejo, or
I haven't seen.
if you can find it, I can't afford it, I'm sure.
Let's do it.
Wow. Wow. Oof.
That's got some heat.
Yeah.
Oof.
It's hot on the front and the back.
Yeah. And on the nose.
Oh, yeah. It's very peppery. Very peppery.
I don't know.
Well, here's the deal. Okay.
I'm gonna give it one.
All right. Here's a question I have too. When we try these, I would like to fictionalize where you would be and what you'd be doing in order to want to enjoy the type of tequila of each one is. And at least for me, this is one of those ones where I maybe have some friends over and I don't want to give them the really good stuff.
Yeah.
I'd say I want to mix it in,
Yeah, I was thinking right off the bat, like that's a mixing
yeah,
tequila.
even if it's
or
just
something,
even if it's just a seltzer or just some kind of soda water, even on ice. I bet on ice it's actually pretty good, and then once the ice melts a little bit, it probably narrows that down. But it's got some punch.
It's got some heat.
It does. I mean, it's smooth though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's got that color.
It's clean.
Yeah, it's.
I'm not sure what kind of bottles or what kind of barrels it was aged. They might have just been charred barrels, but I really can't taste any type of flavor of.
No. And again, sometimes it's that heat still that kind of doesn't let you discern what those flavors
It
are.
lingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it lingers a lot.
Yeah, I still got it. Yeah, it's still feeling in my throat. But yes, I would definitely mix that with something.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm doing like a Paloma or something.
Yeah,
I think that'd be
would be
perfect.
actually. That's a good point. That's a good for Paloma right there because I hate mixing a reposado with for margaritas. Like,
Yeah,
it's like a silver,
yeah,
man,
yeah,
because,
exactly.
You're gonna dilute the entire flavor of the
Right,
tequila
right.
anyways.
You're not tasting.
No.
The tequila is just the addition at that point. It's not a flavor enhancer of any sort or anything.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it worked out. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's all right. It's not bad. All right, what we're gonna do next, man? We're gonna let this one kind of ride. I don't think it's gonna get much hype to it.
Let's do this one right here. Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's do the Lagritonia.
All right, and which one is this?
This is the one that's made. There's a woman owned.
Right,
They're aged in whiskey. Barrels.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Is that reposado or just okay?
Yeah. No, this one's
Whew.
I'm not sure how much you guys want, so I don't want to. I'm pouring like I'm pouring for me. Okay. Yeah, it's about as clear as the other one.
Yeah.
It's got a different smell.
Much easier on the nose for sure.
Yeah.
Softer.
Oh yeah, it's way so
Pillowy. It's much more pillow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got lube in it. It's what it is.
I was about to say,
It does.
This one got coconut oil.
It eases in there pretty well.
Yeah. It's got a nice blend in the mouth. It doesn't go to any specific part.
Yeah.
Whereas, that other one was stayed, It's
Yeah.
like, oh.
I do love that bottle though. Like I've always
It's
said,
badass.
like
I
the
know.
simplicity to certain things.
Yeah.
And the name, so Lagritonia means the yeller, which the translation doesn't kind of make much sense.
Right.
But it's sort of like if you have a loud woman or a loud wife, they call her like Lagritonia. So I don't know if this being like a
Well, it could
like
be because,
like women owned,
Yeah.
like if they were like,
we're shouting like, this is
I'm a
us.
loudmouth, so or just making a statement on.
I smell what the second has a little bit more of the agave flavor.
Yeah.
To me, I taste it a little bit more,
Yeah, definitely get some agave in that.
and I do
Little
like
sweetness.
that. I prefer one that's very. I can taste the green, or I can taste the plant. I can taste the agave in it. I really
Right,
appreciate that, and I actually took some of this to our party last week.
Oh yeah, this is what we were drinking.
That's what I was drinking. I put some on ice, and it was just for me in that setting, in that environment, just like socializing with people. It wasn't too strong. It wasn't hard to, I wasn't just in there shooting it. It was nice to sip. It was easy to sip. It was, it gave you a little warm feeling.
Yeah,
it was nice.
it's
And,
definitely
for a Christmas
warm
party,
for
it was
sure.
really good.
That's a good point too, because multiple people got to try it and they were all like, "That's good," you know. And these are people that aren't tequila drinkers either, so I mean that gives you a little, bit more to it. Is that if someone can try it and they're like, "Oh yeah, okay."
Yeah, that last part of it is, that's got a nice, Where would you drink at?
What's that?
Where would you drink something like that? When? Where? If you had a bottle, if you had to choose off from a wall, when would you grab that bottle?
I think, like you said, I think a social atmosphere is probably where you would enjoy something like that.
And it's definitely a conversation starter.
Yeah.
Because just the bottle alone is like, dude, what is that? I mean, it's hand blown. You can still see the bubbles, the air bubbles inside the glass, And so to me, that's just great.
Yeah.
I love craftsmanship and seeing stuff like that. But that's really good.
Yeah, it's no, it's definitely smooth, man. God, it's good.
Yeah, it is good. It is good.
Except this last round right here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely smoother than the first one.
Yeah,
It's
the first
still,
one was.
it's a little more balanced.
Man, I knew the first one was gonna. I knew it was gonna be kind of ratchet.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you never know what you're gonna get.
no.
And also, I'm always open to trying any of them.
Right, exactly.
I've been very surprised with a lot of cheaper silvers and reposados.
Yeah.
And then I bought, just like this one, I bought something supposed to be pretty good. I
Right.
tried and I've not been impressed. It happens
Well,
to
that's
me all the
to
time.
me that's a Monday afternoon tequila.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna sit down for a couple hours and just sip and enjoy it. You're like, look, I just need this. Let me get the shot down. Let me get this out the way for a minute. Let me just enjoy this and move on from there. But
I want to say that they're actually a pretty big distillery, and there might be other brands under their umbrella that we probably know.
Yeah.
So,
I have to look into that.
yeah.
I told myself I was going to do more research on these before I come on, but once again, I just like to kind of shoot it from the
Right,
cup.
right,
and then look to more like we had that Tilsa Lorna, or however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
The last podcast, and then after we got into that and we got contact by the actual distillers.
Yeah.
I was like, this is pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah,
that was
I
pretty
started
cool.
looking
Yeah.
into the brand and looking behind it, and I think that that's it's more fun and real to me is like when we try these things, we're not doing so much research on the front end.
Right,
But after
right.
we know that we like them, then we're like, okay, let's dive deep into them after we're invested a little bit.
Right, because you can kind of formulate your own opinion as opposed to someone making your opinion
Exactly.
for you. And the thing is, I think, like, if you do your research beforehand, you start looking for those things.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I get it. And then you're just, as opposed to, you kind of test your palate, too, because you say, hey, like we were talking about the type of barrels on certain things.
Yeah.
And then when you go do your research, it's like, oh, spot on. That was
Yeah.
a cognac barrel or whatever it was.
Well, and to me, it's also interesting too because some of these reviews that I read, I'll read the review and then I'll taste and say, "Oh, I taste a hint or something." I'm like, I don't taste any of that. I mean, what are you talking about?
Is that the same tequila?
Yeah, I think I don't know if you're talking about the same one or not. So I think a lot of people's palates, just like with food, they change. There used to be a lot of things I didn't like the flavor of, and now I love the flavor of it.
Yeah.
And so, but how people will rate the tequilas is really the only one that I've ever had that was really, really good that I agreed with every review was that one that I brought, that Volcán de mi Tierra.
Oh yeah, the first.
Yeah, the
first,
Cristalliano.
yeah.
And that was funny too because I even saw somebody review that and somebody said, "Oh, what do you think of this?" And I was like, "I love it. It's exceptional." And somebody's like, well, they go and then they reverse the color out, which probably removes some of the flavor. And I'm like, oh,
You're,
just.
I mean, the one fuck up in that whole thing is probably reduces some flavor. Like
Yeah,
that means
and
you have no idea what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
so did you taste it? And they're like, well, why bother doing that if
Yeah.
you're going to. Oh, man.
Well, you also get these people that they want to hate just to hate, and it's just like,
And we shouldn't hate. I mean, this alcohol's. I mean, I understand some people are certain, music again, obviously, but to be when somebody's trying to learn about something, it's like yelling at a child who doesn't know how to read.
yeah,
Right.
And telling, what are you, stupid? Well, no, I don't know, you know? And to tell any human or any other person that who's trying to learn something that they're unknowledgeable, yeah, I know I'm unknowledgeable, but to try to bring them down or say, you know, you really have no business trying to do this because you know everybody started somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, unless your mama put tequila in your bottle, which, as you know, sour as you are, maybe they did, but you know. So I think that's kind of a good thing about what we're doing here because we're just three regular guys.
Yeah.
That you know, have become fond of the tequila. So
Right. Yeah, it's not looking for admiration on my tequila expertise by any means, you know.
Yeah, but
it's
you
just
know
my
what?
opinion, you know, like.
Yeah, and you know, we might as well be the Blockbuster wall that said, you know, recommendations by the employees. You know, it's like, bro, I don't want to watch Limitless again.
Oh shit!
All right, y'all want to dive into this one?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's
try that
do
one.
it.
This is the 1414.
What's the story behind this one? Do you know anything?
I don't know much about it. I've been seeing like he said, getting into these Facebook groups and all that kind of stuff. I think I've just been seeing it like pop around a lot more. This particular brand.
I have seen it pop up more too, and I guess this brand they carry a couple different lines.
Yeah.
You know, but I can't find this in Dallas.
Really?
Yeah, the only place I found this was at Kingston. Kingston
Yes.
Marketplace. The only
Yes.
place I saw that. I couldn't find it. I even looked in Dallas. I couldn't find it.
Let's see.
And it's also become fun for every time I go someplace, I'll send you guys pictures of, you know, check this out. You know, look at that. It's
Well, I'm always looking for something unique now because, like, when you go to, now that we're doing this, we pay attention. You go somewhere, you realize that usually the options are limited.
That is smooth.
it's not as pillowy as
No.
this, but it's not bitter. It's not harsh.
Yeah, it's got something smoky on the front.
Yeah, it's got some oak.
some oak there.
Yeah.
I like it
Ooh,
though.
and then it's got a sweet towards the end.
Well, so this, so the one we just tried prior actually was a pillow on the front and kind of hit you at the end. This one's smooth all the way through.
Yeah.
But it's got that oak on it.
It does. Yeah, you get just the oakiness, smokiness, like right off the bat.
It's so crazy too because like you look at something like vodka, it's really hard. Vodkas are either taste like shit or some of them are good.
Yeah,
like there's
yeah.
not multiple different flavors of something. But
It comes in a big plastic bottle. It's
Yeah.
probably
yeah, it tastes like rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, exactly.
But like with tequila, it's like every single bottle, no matter what brand it is, has a distinct different flavor to it.
It does, yeah, and you can just pick up different nuances in the tequila. And sometimes it's just like where these distilleries are located, like the soil that they have, you know, their processes in the distilling and all that kind of stuff. So it's cool to kind of just pick up the differences. Like, you know, there could be two distilleries right next to each other, but the way one treats their soil and stuff can have an impact on, you know, the flavor profile as opposed to their neighbors or whatever.
Now, I have bought a couple times I was in Dallas. I bought, you know, some like Don Diego and some other brands, and I'll have them at my house. And I'm like, I'll just try it. You know, like I was going to save it for Tequila Talk, but that was 3 weeks away. So I was like, well, let me just open it up and give it a shot. You know, I'll try it out. And you know, some of it ended up being really good. Some of it was kind of like, meh. But one thing I noticed too is even on the lower end, I won't say lower end, but the popular brands like the Hornitos, you know,
Yeah.
five I don't say shots, but 5, you know, servings of it. Even the Sam's Club brand was better as far as how my body handled it. How, you know, it's kind of like the Hornitos really wasn't. It was like it felt watered down from the get go in the bottle.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like,
That
this
mass
isn't
production, man.
Yeah, and it was.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was you know, sugar extra added sugars or what, but I mean it wasn't very good. And when I say very good, I mean by the results of, you know, it didn't have like, this is warm, this is nice, this gives you a nice, you know.
Well, I do want everyone to know too, who are listening or watching, that, you know, I have big into the fitness side of shit, and there's absolutely no carbs in tequila.
Yeah.
The only calories in tequila comes from actual alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like when I shifted, to be honest, which is interesting, when I shifted to drinking tequila, it was a more of a health choice, and of course, a healthier choice would be not drink any alcohol.
Exactly. But then then your mental health would suffer.
And nothing against Jose and those guys, because I respect and I know you guys love your beer, but I'm not a beer drinker. And I was, trying to get away from bourbon because I was like, man, I feel like shit. My guts feel rotten the next day. I'm trying to get a healthy lifestyle, and like, well, what can I still drink and not feel like shit the next day, but also enjoy and that it's strong and I'm not having to drink a lot of it. Yeah. And that's when I, went this way with tequila. Dude, I just love it, man. It just.
Speaking of beer, you guys have done a lot since the last time we met up. Tell us about some of the stuff that's happening with you, man.
Stuff's going good, man. We're headed in the right direction right now. We're still pumping out very unique stuff. So we recently, probably about a month ago, signed a deal with Pelican Craft Distributors from down south. So we're now like in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, all the places down there. And it was one of those things where it's like, we weren't necessarily looking for that type of expansion, but when we talked to them, it just felt right. They're a craft beer only distributor. This is what they do, is what their passion is. And they were like, we need a Northern Louisiana brewery to kind of, for our portfolio, and y'all fit the bill. And we were like, well, y'all could help us out in certain areas too, as far as like, right now, like our production system, we're not to capacity. Like we could brew more than we are. So with this going through, it's really helping us, being able to branch out more and do the things that we want to do and actually utilize our equipment to its like full capacity. Yeah. So stuff's going good.
Yeah. I like you guys did that. How'd that art? You guys did a Halloween art.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really cool. I thought that was. I didn't even know about it. I probably wouldn't have submitted anything. But I mean, I always like looking.
No. Next round, I got you.
Definitely let him submit something.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I thought
about him whenever I saw that. Yeah. Ben didn't even try to get that.
I just finished a piece that I donated to the Ferrari Club of America, and it's actually the first piece I've finished in 4 years. And my daughter was like, I wonder what you've been doing. My grandson just turned 4. I was like, well, I've been doing God's work. Yeah. But I finished that piece, and luckily the guy who won it owns 2 of my other pieces, and he has an entire, I can't even tell you how many cars he has, but he loves life. He just had his first grandchild. And we were kind of talking. He's like, we're spending more time. My daughter's going back to work and this, because I think she's in the medical field too. I'm like, dude, you're going to love this time of your life. And he's got a lot of money, so he can actually really just enjoy, the time with it. But I back when I used to, I would reward myself with, a little bit of tequila after I finished, painting for about, 2 or 3 hours. Well, this time when I first started, I was like, well, I'm going to take, have a little bit beforehand. I'm like, okay, my lines are wrong. I need to not drink this, but it was nice to get back to it. And there's a couple pieces I'm working on. I'm excited about, just because I've found the joy in it again. Or I found the reason to spend time doing it, because I've gotten I feel older than I probably am. But I've realized my time is much more valuable than pretty much anything else. And so if I'm not enjoying it, I am not going to do it. Yeah. I don't care.
Now, I'm going to holler at you about the next round for sure. Cool. So what we did is we did this beer called The World Beneath Us, and it was kind of like a Halloween theme. So what I did with that is, like, we had actually planned it like months back. And I said, I want to reach out to 4 local artists. I'm going to tell them the name of the beer, and that's it. I want no, because sometimes people, they say, like, yeah, we work with this local artist, but they have all the input in the world. Right. And it's like, I want this way. And it's like, nah, we're not doing it that way. Whatever your interpretation of that name is towards your art, that's what the label's going to be. Within reason. I mean, I can't have like boobs on my can.
Okay, then don't call me next time then, because
stuff like that.
That's kind of where I'm going off.
Stuff like that. But it was cool. We got to work with 4 like very talented local artists, and they're all kind of come from different like aspects of stuff. Like Paige Powell, she's super awesome. She does a lot of like pasting, cropping kind of stuff. And then Kyle, one of the guys, Kyle, he's a Shreveport firefighter, so he's just kind of, it's his side, like he's super talented, but he's never actually pursued it as like, this is a way of making money. Yeah. And then James Clemens, who's he's a tattoo artist, so I think that was kind of cool. And then the other guy, Ben Moss, kind of, he's got his own style. So it was just cool to actually like do something for like, with other people. Because, a lot of people preach community, but I feel like they don't embrace it.
And so it's very interesting, though, that you say that, because when you talk about it's his passion or his side thing, a lot of people, artists who pursue their passion, lose the passion in the pursuit.
Yes.
You have a passion for brewing, and you haven't lost that passion yet.
Right.
Where, a lot of people are like, because me, I like painting, I like doing it, but when it becomes a business...
Well, production fucks everything up.
Yeah.
Like, when you start trying to produce something, just like you said, when someone said, when someone says, okay, we exclusively work with this artist, but then the actual person who's asking something from the artist is giving all the input, then it's not really art anymore.
Right. Right, because I've talked to people and they're like, well, I need my logo here, and I need this, and it's just like, no, I want to let you do your thing, and you represent yourself.
Yeah.
Within the guidelines that I've given you, which were none.
I'm gonna do me, you do you.
Right. Yeah. This is the name. Whatever inspired you, you're inspired by that name. So it was cool. It was cool. It was
so next year the theme will be Chi-Chi's.
Yeah.
So you did multiple labels featuring. Is that
So every so you buy a 4-pack. Every beer in the 4-pack has a different artist art
all
on
the
it.
same beer.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, my production team fucking hated me.
That's what I was thinking. I was literally thinking. I was thinking right here. It's like, holy shit, we got 4 pieces of art for the same production.
Yeah. So because they had to do a run, and then set that to the side, do another run, do another run, do another, and then they had to individually make the 4-packs. And usually, we just do a run, pack it up as we go. It's easy. But that day, and then I was actually at my day job that day. I walked in that day, and they were just like, fuck you.
You leave. Leave. Get out of here. We'll call immigration on you.
I was like, but what a great idea,
No, I thought that was really great. I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was something that was, everything you're doing is unique, man, because everyone, like, craft brew is like, it's gotten to be like, it was where it's so trendy that the uniqueness of it's almost fizzled out at this point, because there's so many craft breweries all over the states, and it's like, it's a trend. So we're gonna go here. Of course, it's pet friendly. We're gonna go here and hang out for brunch, but like the actual beer is not even being highlighted anymore. It's just about the atmosphere, or like a location, or somewhere for some chick to get an Instagram post.
And we kind of knew that kind of stuff, because you do these projections, and obviously the craft beer boom is not what it was a couple years ago. No. It's kind of getting to that peak, but we knew that that's what we were getting into, and they relate it to a lot of other industries that have had similar type booms, where you get to a peak and then the good ones remain, and everything else fizzles out. Right. I think we're getting to that point, so our goal is to not fizzle out or whatever. So I think we're doing a decent job of it, but we're still working at it.
Okay, here's a question I have. How many times in the process did you go, no, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
I've thought about, you think about it, but it's not for the reasons of the stress of starting a business produces. It's more of like, it drives you and it kind of detours you at first, because like where I'm coming from is what I'm saying is, the time you're spending away from family, the sacrifices that you're making, like, it drives you, because I need to be able to prove to my 1-year-old one day that, Daddy wasn't around as much because I was building this for you. But then at times it's like, man, you have stressful days. You're like, fuck this. I be hanging out with my kid,
Yeah, exactly.
And like, especially me, like I still have a day job. Well, I've actually lost money since we started this business, because I take more time off, Yep. So, and it's stuff like this. Like, I'll be concentrating on my day job, making my money, coming home every night to my kid, and have a better, maybe even have a bigger house or something. But then you think about, like, well, this is your passion. This is what makes you happy.
Right.
That your kid makes you happy. The day job don't make you all that happy.
It's a weird balance. It's like when that side hustle eventually turns to the main hustle, it's like, okay, where do I go from here?
Yeah, and that's where I'm talking about,
It's scary.
losing
Scary to think
the
about.
passion of it. Sometimes, and it's almost like you enjoy it because it's not the final chapter.
Right.
This is just something that I'm experiencing, something I'm enjoying, something I'm doing. And then when it gets to that point where you go, okay, now it's my livelihood. Now it's what I'm known for. Now it's what I'm doing. How does your mind take that and you go, you know what? No, now it's just a job.
Yep.
Now it's just another job that I have, and then you need to go off and do something else on the side because, like with me,
so.
I'm
That's
ADD.
me. That's me.
I'm ADD all the way. I have it wasn't really considered that when I was a child. It was just considered being a bad kid, right? And my son actually got some help when he was younger, and I saw the improvement in him, a huge improvement. And I thought to myself, well, I wonder if maybe he got that from me because his mom is brilliant, she's so organized. I'm like, she didn't get that from me. Yeah. But I saw what the improvements he had. So I'm like, okay, let me look more further into myself and realizing that had I had the opportunity, and this is just for anybody that's listening to, I actually was on ADHD medicine, and people asked me, they said, my son started this medication. So I was like, give it time. You're going to love it. And they're like, I understand. I said, okay, I want you to think of it this way. I want you to take a pile of file folders, and just throw them on a desk. Okay. All of them, just in different directions. Some of them hanging out. This is how a person like me with, ADHD and dyslexia sees that table. What this medication does or did for me is it took all those file folders and it put them into stacks. Mm-hmm. It organized them. And then it also made me go, okay, I need to take care of this stack first because this is the most important thing. Not this one, not just going, okay, I'm going to grab this one, I'm going to grab this one, I'm going to grab this one. So as a person who does art, for fun, that was kind of like, my thing that we did. So a person with my background type of thing, when something becomes, your passion becomes your business, it's like, okay, how does that change? How does that change me?
Yeah, it's a crazy balance because, I still don't see the seventh tap as work.
No,
it's not work to me.
That's a great thing.
But what sucks is that at the end of the day, you still have to look at those numbers.
Yeah. Well, you have employees.
To say
employees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to pay people. Yep. I have to make sure that we're being profitable. Mm-hmm. How are we going to expand? How are we going to grow? So you have to look at these things where it's not a day job or it's not a job. It's your passion, but there's more things to it than
you
just
start micromanaging that. It's weird because same thing for me when I jumped into marketing. I didn't realize I was passionate about it until I was knee deep in. I'm like, holy shit, I'm passionate about this. And then you start scaling it and you're like, okay, well, we're scaling it now. We have multiple employees. Now I got to worry about the bottom line.
Yeah.
It's not just some partners now. It's a point we have.
Yes,
you know exactly what I'm talking about. So your partners now, and then you have employees, and you're like, okay, well, now I really have to worry about the bottom line. And shit, then stress starts sitting in. You're like, okay, well, this isn't as fun as it was last year.
Right.
But at the same time, we're still making strides.
Right.
And keeping the culture, was the hardest thing, for me to project to everyone. It's like the culture is going to stay the same, and we're going to stay the same route no matter how big it grows, no matter where it goes. It's like the culture is going to stay the same, the route's going to stay the same. Yeah. Things are just going to shift, and then it becomes more of a job.
It does. I say we pour one more, and then I want to ask you a question about business and get your opinion on it because it's something I've been battling with on certain things.
Let's do the.
Let's go with Ben's.
No. We're going to do the.
Oh, we're going to do this one. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm scared. I'm scared it's going to be good.
Yeah, because I want to hear more about your new side hustle too because it's very good. I like the product you create. Yeah, give me that. Don't pour for me. I'm pouring myself.
I'm graciously pouring a little bit here. Oh, that's like.
Oh, I love that.
Copper tone.
It's a beautiful bottle, man. It's art.
Right.
Oh, that's definitely darker.
Repeat the name of this again for me, guys.
Leyenda de Mexico, which means the legend of Mexico. Okay. I'm guessing Sol y Luna, which is sun and moon, is the distillery and.
Well, I'll read this real quick. None of it's in Spanish. I hope. Let's see here. All right. So when God finished creating the world, He decided to give it the final touch, light. It was then that He placed a special power upon the sun and the moon, an illumination that nothing else could ever have. By the way, this font is absolutely horrible, guys. If you're listening,
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna read it.
I'm going to be slightly inebriated here in a minute. This will be really hard to read.
Just Joe, go to the website. If you want to know about it, go to the website, okay? Because we'll be here all afternoon.
Anymore, but I mean,
I couldn't read it sober. I tried to read it sober
here, but holy shit, this font! It's not. Look, the bottle's beautiful, but it has like some kind of metallic print on it. So like,
it's like trying to read blue on blue.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work.
The two stars met for the first time. It began his great love story, and then they decided to share their love with their universe. But God had an assignment, a function for each one, and for that reason, they would have to live apart. Man, this seems like a crazy love story. I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah, I think it has to deal with like the Aztec gods. You know, they saw the sun and the moon as like gods, and okay, so it's there.
Did you try it yet?
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah,
How was it?
you were busy reading.
You're still trying to
both look at each other like, yeah,
you're
keep reading.
still trying to decipher the code on the back of that bottle.
Yeah. Drink more Ovaltine.
I don't know. It's different. It's not a bad difference.
No. I get a smokiness, some barrel characteristic, and there's almost like a slight citrusy kind of thing going on.
Yeah. An acidic. There's an acidic.
Yeah.
A high acidity. And I will say that it's.
I like it.
It's pretty much. I think it's a blend between the 1414 and the first one we tried.
Yeah.
It's got that peppery in the front.
Does,
I can still feel it.
Got a little burn.
Feel linger, but it's not unpleasant.
No, it's not.
It's not a pocky chip. You know, it's more like just some nice.
No, I like that.
Spice.
I enjoy that. So where would you drink that at?
Oh, this right here is a Sunday afternoon in the studio. Not painting, but cleaning my brushes, picking up stuff. Cuddling with my chocolate lab, just not rushing, just enjoying it.
That is a patient flavor. I should say that.
I like that. I like you said that. It's a patient flavor.
Yeah, I mean,
you feel it now. You feel it
it's a
going
very
down a
like
bit?
chill type. I can see I can see myself like drinking that with my dad. Like we're just watching a soccer game or something, and we're just chilling.
Yeah, you don't have any plans.
No.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, I don't got to go somewhere at 4. No, you're done for the day.
I would drink it barbecuing.
Get that smoky smell. And speaking of barbecuing, tell us.
Yeah.
Tell us about your
new
baby.
Yeah, so we have a little barbecue business now. I've been doing it so long. It's been 3 or 4 years now. I've been cooking for nonprofit events, cooking for golf tournaments, cooking for loved ones at every single damn family event, from birthday parties to Christmas to you have it. And everyone keeps saying, man, you got to do this for a living. You got to do it for a living. I'm like, well, just like we talked about earlier, it's still a passion project, and maybe it will be a professional, like proficient business one day. But right now, it's just in baby form, like anything else I've done in the past few years. But I'm enjoying it.
Nice.
It's fun. I'm going to take off after the first year and kind of move around and see what I want to do. Move and shake. Super custom stuff.
Yeah.
No commercial like layout to where I'm going to go in and change how I do things for a specific event or something like that. It's all private event stuff, and I'll just be thrown down with the smoker, man.
Man, we do a private event at the 7th Tap, man.
Let's do it. I'm down.
Yeah, I keep wondering, like, you keep having people, I'm like, you need to have
now we got tequila, we got barbecue. Let's just make it happen.
Yeah, dude.
Well, anybody's listening, DJ's Barbecue is on point. It is.
Jose hadn't had it yet.
I haven't had it, dude. And you know,
I'm lucky.
I'm a barbecue like
and he's
fiend.
a barbecuer, and I hadn't had it.
We live not too far from each other, so he'll be like, hey, I got some of this. I'm like, bro, I got some of this. So we do a little exchange.
That's the one thing that like we don't have.
No,
honestly,
we don't
have
really
like legitimate barbecue.
We don't.
And because like we did a barbecue event at the brewery, and I had to bring in my friend Brian Bingham, who's was the pitmaster at Bodacious on Mobberly, and then he now started his own thing called Sunbird Barbecue. Who, he's been voted top 50 Texas. Like this dude's like
hell
shit.
yeah.
So like I had to bring this guy in because and I got another buddy though. I want you to meet him, dude. He when it comes to barbecue, and he's on point also. So
what was your question for him about business?
All right, so the question, and this is just something that like
kind of nervous.
No, it's not bad. How do you balance like your like employee, like your relationship with employees, that relationship with like I'm your boss, but at the same time I have your best interest at heart, type thing, and
my employees may listen to this, so I don't.
I've got something to say after he's done. I definitely.
My thing is that I establish it firsthand, even when I've hired people that I know, and then now at this point, there are people that I knew in previous life that now work for me. I'm not your friend.
Yeah.
I'm not your friend, but at the same time, most people that I hire at this point are vetted, and like someone referred them to me. I'm not just pulling people off the street. And I just go in completely transparent at the front, man. I really do. I'm just like, I'm not your friend, but at the same time, I'm going to respect you like family. Here's my biggest advice to anyone that's a business owner, and then, and you being, new at this, what you're doing now too, is that those people, business owners tend to get so upset with employees because what they don't realize is they're not invested. At the end of the day, they're not invested.
Yeah.
They're never going to care as much as you do. They're never going to work as hard as you do.
Right.
And sometimes it's hard to separate those things. It's like, you think about it, you're like, okay, I'm getting so frustrated, but at the end of the day, this is just their job.
Right.
They're not as passionate about it.
Right.
They just signed up for a job. You pay them a good wage, and then they do a good job. But they don't think about the ins and outs, the relationships it's taken to get here, the bottom line, what bills have to be paid. All they know is they show up, you give them a task, and they do it.
Right.
And so that's been the number one thing I've had to always tell myself is chill out, don't get mad at them. They don't have a vested interest.
Right.
And until you give them a vested interest, you can't expect them to perform at the level that you are. And the biggest thing initially when we started the company was being able to delegate things. Like you take so much in on yourself. Ben knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I do this better than everyone else, so I'm just going to keep doing it. Well, eventually, as you grow, you can't keep doing everything. And you got to realize, okay, well, another thing I've realized too is that you have to delegate those things, but you realize that play on people's strengths.
Yeah.
And if they have a weakness somewhere, let's just roll over it and play on a strength, or try to find someone's strength. Because a lot of times you may think someone's fit for a task, you give it to them, and you realize they fucking suck at it.
Yeah.
But is there another task within that threshold that they can do that you can empower them? Because as soon as someone feels empowered, it's like they're almost vested with you.
Yeah.
That's been my biggest thing. Is like I realized that I was bringing employees on, I was trying to make them do shit that I was doing, and they were really, really, really like caught off guard, a little, timid about it, and like, I don't know if I want to do this. I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? And they're like, well, I enjoy doing this. And giving them options, letting them try everything, and then seeing what they're best at. I know that was a whole rabbit hole, but like that's
I love it.
All those things like I've seen firsthand, because I've had turnover with 20 employees in the past 6 years now in business, and it's just because finding the right fit for the culture we're in. Just because you have an amazing culture and you bring someone in that you think may fit because you knew them in high school or whatever, and then they show up and you're like, this shit ain't working.
Yeah.
Another thing is like dragging people down the line longer than you should. Like, okay, this is not working. Let's cut off early.
Yeah.
Those are like this. I could go on a rant on every single one of those points, but all those in a nutshell, I feel like are the most important thing when you're dealing with employees.
Yeah. No, man, I love to hear that. I wanted to hear that, and like that's been one of the biggest struggle for us, and that's just like I love all the people that work for us, but like you said, like you see, like people come into the tap room and they say, "Man, there's always one of y'all here."
Yeah.
Most of the time it's me, but something, every once in a while, like Colby or Sam will be like, "Hey, go hang out with your kid. I'll watch the tap room tonight," whatever it is. And people are always like, "Well, what?" And it's like, because this is my baby. Like, no one's gonna take care of my baby like I am.
Right.
Now, when you say, it's interesting. When you say balance, do you mean balance the delegation, balance the trying not to hurt somebody's feelings, balance your relationship to them prior to working? Because I'm going to tell you this, I work with family, and there's nothing, think about your wife working with you and your wife telling you did something wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly. Yeah. So what you have, and so
I think the balance I'm speaking of is sometimes like we try to like, obviously you want to be a good employer.
Right.
You want to have their best interests at heart.
Right.
You want people that want to grow with you.
Yeah.
Type thing. But the balance is like being a good employer to people and then being a boss.
Yeah.
Right.
Like not getting taken advantage of for your kindness, but being able to make sure that you're still maximizing what they're bringing to your business.
Here's my 1,000-foot view of that in a nutshell with 3 points. employees first, client second, you last.
Right.
Right.
Always.
Yeah.
Because a client can't get 110% valued service unless the employee is,
Right.
on point
Yeah.
and valued at home. So I always tell everyone this. My employees come first. I don't give a shit what client you are.
Yeah.
My employees come first. We recently had someone come on the team, and I might have thought some things. I didn't think anything, but maybe some clients may say something about it.
Yeah.
Because of an orientation or something, and I immediately told that employee coming on. I said, look, if this ever happens, that's a fired ass client.
Yeah.
Because my employees come first, my client comes second, and me last. And I feel like if you keep that mindset at the top of the grid, that you can't really fuck up.
And I do have that
really hard to
mentality.
get that mentality.
And I've told my employee this exact quote is like I've told my employees before. Like if a person comes in here and they're having a beer and they're being super disrespectful to you, an asshole, whatever the case may be, let me know because I don't need that. And the quote that I've used is I'm not hoeing myself out for $5. Because I don't need people disrespecting my employees either. And that's
But then you become at that point you just become a glorified dive bar.
Yeah,
You're not
right.
You're not really. You're not a destination. You're not serving. You're not creating an atmosphere people that feel welcome to. You're just. You're just. There's just a bunch of shit going on. You don't want that.
Well, I will say this in the sense of that, when I used to manage golf properties, I knew nothing about management. All right, I just worked hard. I started out as the marketing person, membership. Then I became the manager. Then I became the general manager. Then I became a manager of 2 properties. And the only reason that happened was because I absorbed everything I could in every department.
Yeah.
Okay. And everybody, I don't care if you're a superintendent, I don't care if you're a dishwasher, if you're this, everybody has a reason for being there.
Right.
And what happened when we had I did like a survey of the members. I said, I want you guys to tell me what you think. Let's analyze where we're at. And I got stuff back like that employee couldn't buy a personality. That this couldn't happen here. This couldn't, it's horrible, this and that. And I ended up having a meeting with all my employees, and we had I bought everybody pizza, and we had a little, PowerPoint presentation, and I shared with them the comments. And I looked at them all. I said, okay, now, I stopped and I said, okay, now whose fault is this? And everybody's like, looking around. I said, this is my fault. This is my fault because I didn't train you properly.
Great point.
I didn't take the time to train. And then we started a program. We started doing all these things. And I ended up attending I ended up attending this El Tesoro. Ooh, God, that smells good. No, it smells good.
Sorry, Jimmy. Oh, God, that's good.
Oh, man.
Baby.
Oh, and the front is sweet, smooth when it hits the back. Oh.
You're still running close right now.
Oh, my goodness. So, but anyways, I ended up attending a Disney Institute course.
Okay.
Because I'm like, they're the best in customer service.
Yeah, everyone, they love their job.
Yeah. And so, but what happened is I found out, I work for my employees. My job is to provide them with the tools that they need to get the job done that I've asked them to do. Okay. And when a new management company came in, it was like looking at our stuff, and they were kind of talking to everybody, and they said, well, what's your management style? I said, well, I work for the employees. And they're like, huh? They don't understand that. I was like, no, my job is to make sure they have everything they need to do the job that I've asked them to do. If I give them everything they need and they don't do it, that's on them. Okay. And we ended up having an event one time, a demo day where Callaway and Titleist and all these big companies came. And we, at that point, we were sharp as a knife. And I had the area representatives would come into the clubhouse, and they'd be like, man, your staff is incredible. It's like one of them was like, my dad worked in the golf industry for years. He would kill to have your staff. I said, well, you know what? They don't come that way.
No. Right.
You have to make them understand. And once we all got behind and everybody understood that the goal was this, then everybody understood that if I acted a certain way or I did something, it was because our goal is to do this. Right. And none of them would question, well, why is Ben doing that? Or why is this department doing that? They understood, look, We're all a team.
Well, we all love a sense of empowerment too, right? So like when you do empower them, you know, and I don't want to keep this on business too long, but I think it's a great great, you know, point to bring up. But like when you empower someone, you get the best of them.
Right.
Especially, I love this analogy. We talked about it in a business networking meeting a few weeks ago. But when they're working in their flame, not in the wax.
Yeah.
When someone's in their flame, that's the most empowered they can be. And when you can find where someone's flame is and then empower them in their flame, you get the best results there. And that's not just business, it's life, man. But it really works. It really shows through when you can. And it's so hard because most of the time we get caught up working in the business and not on the business.
Yeah.
But so like moving forward, like I tell everyone, like you got to be transparent with yourself first and then everyone else. I have to make sure that I set aside X amount of time to make sure that every single person here on this team feels empowered. Right. And if they don't, why do they not? Is it because they don't enjoy what they're doing? Okay, do I have something else that they could do and we still, you know, make the wages the same but make a transition or retrofit something? It's, you know, 10, 20 years ago, people were like, well, you're giving people special privileges. No, I'm not. I'm going to play on someone's strengths.
Yeah.
So if someone's, you know, great in this area, then I'm going to move them here. And there's someone maybe better here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, you know what?
But there was a quote that I heard, and I think it was on like Rogan's podcast or something. He had somebody on, and he said the person or whatever was like, you don't work for me, you work with me.
Right.
And I just took that to heart. I was like, all right, I want to be that type of boss. Mm-hmm. Like, I want you to work hard, and I want you to do what I need you to do. Yeah. But if I can help you grow, even if it's outside of this place,
of course.
like, I want to make it happen.
Very good point. I had an employee work for me forever, and she was torn, and she felt so bad. And she was talking to people around me, but not me, saying, I'm so nervous to have this conversation with DJ because I'm about to leave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she sat down in almost tears and was telling me, I'm leaving. I don't want you to be mad at me. I'm like, I'm not mad at you.
I'm happy
I'm so
for you.
happy for you.
Thank you. Yes.
You're going from this area to Nashville, another big town, doing the same thing. I said, I'm fucking happy for you.
Right.
Like, and it was like so much relief because I ran into her mother, and if she's listening one day or hears this, you know, I love you. Yeah. I ran into her mother at a restaurant, and she walked up to me and she said, you know who I am? I said, no, I don't. She's like, well, I'm so-and-so's mother.
Yeah.
And I just want you to know that, you know, I have respect for you because my daughter was so upset and didn't know how to approach you in this situation, and I want you to know how much you did for her by empowering her.
Right.
And dude, that got to my got down to my bones, dude. I was like, okay, well, I fucked up a lot of shit in my life, but at least I'm doing this right. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, and you talk about maintaining a balance. I have one last story about that. I was walking through the clubhouse one day, and one of our girls was behind the bar, and she was talking to another one of our I was about to say cast member, but that's a Disney thing. One of our employees, and she talking about her child and everything. I'm like, oh, it's like, and she was talking about her child's program. I'm like, oh, I said, did you go to the program? She was like, no, it's happening right now. I was like, then what are you doing here? Yeah. And she's like, well, I have to work. I said, no, go. Yeah. Get gone. I will serve for it. Beer. I can do that. And it was like, you know, on a Thursday morning, it's like, I got this. You need to go be there for her. Yeah. And I guarantee you, there is not that one little act did not gain more for loyalty and for if I never needed anything from somebody to just maybe do. Could you do me a favor? They wouldn't even question it. Yeah. Why? Because I took into account their personal things. So I like that you do that. That you say, you know what, you need to go home and be with your family. I'm here. Two of us don't need to be here. Yeah. You need to go do that. So when you maintain a balance, that's how you maintain the balance.
Yeah, and I mean, I try to think that, and that's where it leads to, because why I asked the question, because I want to empower these people, and if their side thing, because like the brewery it's not a career,
right?
You know what I'm saying? It's and maybe one day we'll get to eventually where we have sales reps and we have tap room managers and all that stuff.
Well, do you know if any of your employees see that yet? Do you know if any of them?
I hope they see that,
right?
And I hope that these people are like, this is what I want. This is what I want, and that they show me that, you know what, I don't have to. I want someone to show me, like, I don't have to be, like, you know what, like, me feel like I don't have to be there.
Well, one of the greatest things in this world is a strong leader, and a lot of people don't know where they're going or what they're doing. But if they find somebody who they believe does know what they're doing and does know where they're going, they'll follow them to the ends of the earth because they believe enough in them because they see them, they see their work ethic. And, words are words. A lot of people talk stuff, but to see somebody's actions makes a huge difference. And a lot of people are like, look, I never want to be the guy that starts the brewery. I never want to be the guy that goes and starts his own business. I just want to be the guy who shows up for work, and I'm happy doing that.
And that's the biggest thing you have to remember is that these people don't have the same mindset.
Yeah.
But I completely
it's not
agree.
worse or better. It's just a different mindset.
Everyone's different.
They're like, I don't want the responsibility of making payroll. I don't want the responsibility of that. Oh, wait, look, but for a second. What do y'all think of this El Tesoro? This is the best damn tequila.
It is some good shit.
This is so good.
God, it's good.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Now, it's not tears, but it's
close.
Good.
Bro, that is so smooth. There's like a oakiness to that, a smokiness to that. The barrel shines through perfectly. That is...
Oh, it's balanced.
The hype is real with that one.
Bro,
yeah.
When are we gonna get this tequila barrel beer, man?
Man, I'm trying.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I'm gonna keep asking you on everyone's podcast.
Yeah.
So, anyway, go back to what you were saying because I
was just saying like that. You were talking about that. The fact of the matter is, a lot of times you'll feel like that. You may, because you're the way you are in doing something, that asking someone to do something, it might feel like, well, this is beneath. I feel like it's beneath me or something I don't have time to do. So if I give it to someone else, do they feel that way?
Yeah.
But some people are looking forward to a task. Yeah. And if they believe in you and they know you're providing them a task, a lot of people, my job is task management. Yeah. Take them in. Give me something to do. If I don't have nothing to do, what am I here for?
Right.
So like we all have different mindsets and, finding those people, I've realized this is my business. Like I have employees and I'm like, hey, you got something else for me to do? I'm like, shit. No, let me find something.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, that means they want to do something.
Right. And I kind of took the mentality, and we all do. Me, Sam, and Colby kind of taking the mentality like, don't make an employee do something that you wouldn't do.
Right.
Type thing. And, I mean,
some people,
you'll walk in the tap room and you'll see me, I'm washing dishes, man. And, I'm cleaning glasses, and that's just, or like at night when we close up, like, one of us will help them mop at night. Like, it's, again, it's your baby.
We've had employees who would just sit there and do nothing because they didn't have, a certain material that they needed to do something. And they would just sit there and do nothing. And I'm like, why are you just sitting there doing nothing? Well, I'm out of this. Okay, but there's so much other things that can be done, but they don't. All they are is like, look, you tell me what to do, and if I don't have things to do it, I'm just going to sit here because I'm not a self-starter. That to me is harder to understand than somebody who just speaks a different language.
Right.
Because I don't know how to do that.
Well, it fucks with you because you're not the type of person, but we have to take into account that there's so many different types of personalities. But at the end of the day, it's like, I think, to go back to your most important, like in your foremost question, is that the balance part of it is just knowing that if you see some type, I hate saying like a 5-year plan or a fucking goal. I hate whiteboarding shit. Like I want to whiteboard some shit. My thing is like every single day is a different like a whole leg of something with multiple different folders could open up or multiple different legs, and they could just boom, go into something else. It happens to me every fucking day. I'm like, oh shit, we're gonna get into this now. We're doing it. Like every day's a new opportunity, but just keeping the broad goal at hand is like culture, man. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to culture.
No,
I mean, like what you said, that's like us. Like it's like okay, now we're in fucking Baton Rouge.
Yeah,
we're in Lafayette. We're in New Orleans.
You're respected for your honesty to craft, and you're also super, super fucking unique.
Right.
And the thing about being unique, first off, what is craft? It's fucking unique.
Yeah.
It's art, and now you're speaking to that. Craft has got basically watered down because it become a trend for fucking Instagram posts, you know what I mean? And then it's like there's no more craft to it, but you're keeping the craft to it. Yeah, there can be a million things done with hops and all kind of different flavors, but you're also adding another layer to that by getting other people involved and you're empowering fucking artists.
Right.
So,
but also from that standpoint, you have to look at, and you don't talk about whiteboard and stuff like that. I'm not even talking about that, but I'm thinking about goals. Okay, we all have to have a goal, even if it's just okay. What am I going to get done today? And that's what I believe successful people are good at, is understanding what their goal is, but also understanding their time management of it. Yeah. I love telling the story to my son, but I sat on a plane one time I was on my way to South Carolina, and I sat next to this guy on the plane. He had this ring on his finger. I'm like, what is that, a Super Bowl ring? He's like, no. He goes, I got it from Harvard Business School. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm sitting there for a while. I said, okay, bro. I said, I'm gonna ask you one question and I'm gonna leave you alone. I said, but I gotta know, because I didn't finish college. I said, what's the most important thing you learned at Harvard Business School? He thought for about 5 seconds and he said, time management.
Yep.
He said they would give us more cases than we could handle on purpose. They knew we could never finish them. They wanted to know, how did we prioritize them? How did we handle that? How did we do that? So the most, and I always knew time management was important, but I never understood that some things just can't get done
That's right.
today.
That's right.
So you know what? Don't worry about that. Worry about the important things. So when you look at a goal and you say, okay, is this thing that I'm doing, is it in line with our goal as a company?
Yeah.
Because if it's not, it can wait until tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
You know, and once everybody's on that same page, once everybody's riding to that same rhythm and realizes, okay, this doesn't affect our goal.
Yeah.
This is just something that we got to deal with. This does affect our goal, so let's focus on taking care of that.
I think it's an excellent point. And I also want to add to that, you can't, just like you said, you're not going to hoe yourself out for $5.
Yeah.
You can't devalue your business by saying yes to everything.
Right.
Which sucks, because you want to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
So then you
Because
have
if
to
you don't nowadays, you're lambasted on Instagram and
shit.
Facebook, and you're just the
But
worst.
you just have to realize, like, every request you have, does it align with our values?
Right.
Does it align with our culture? And my biggest pet peeve about this is most people are like, what's in it for me? Like, I've had millions of, like, and that's why I got into this barbecue business. I've had millions of things where I'm like, hey, man, I want to give you an opportunity to get in on this event and cook for it. And they're like, well, how many people's going to be there? I'm like, that's the first fucking question you asked me? Fuck you. You know, because my thing is like, do you want to be involved or not? You see, I'm trying to do something.
I deal with that. I do that
know what I'm
exact same.
talking
Yeah.
about. Yes.
Is it a special event? Are y'all releasing a beer that day? Or is it like,
You know what? Read the book, Creating Magic. Read that book. It's written by Lee Cockrell. He was executive vice president of Walt Disney World, the entire Walt Disney World. And he says, and the first line of the book says, it's not the magic that makes it work. It's the way we work that makes it magic.
Yeah.
Okay. And I learned more in that one book than I could have ever learned in a million hours of business school and business. Because you know why? Because business is predictable. Human beings are not.
yeah.
So learn to deal with humans before you learn how to deal with that. So, all right, bro, let's open up the bell.
Let's
Ring
do
the
it.
bell.
Let's
Ring the
do
bell
it.
before you
Let's
open
do
it, because you got to ring the bell. There you
Hell
go.
yeah.
Yeah, so for everybody that doesn't know, Clase Azul, this bottle, it's a beautiful bottle. It's got this bell on the top.
There you go.
And I think that's like one of their signature things. Every bottle is hand painted. So shout out to my boy Rob for coming through with this one.
We need to hang out with Rob.
Yeah.
Wherever Rob is, we need to go holler
told-
at
I
Rob.
to have a bourbon episode.
No,
just for
yeah.
him.
Like I told Rob, and then I have another guy that actually he volunteers, works at the tap. Super nice guy. His name's Todd, and he's just like, I like beer, I like bourbon. So he's like, if you ever need me, I'll come work.
Yeah.
And he's like the type of guy you want to
Yeah.
work. And he tops Rob when it comes to the bourbon collection. And I said, I need to bring both you guys on, and we're gonna do a bourbon talk.
Fuck
and
yeah,
y'all just
dude. Hell yeah.
y'all just tell us, like, y'all bring y'all stuff and tell us like what stuff is.
And you know what? I would like to come to that, not just because it's got alcohol, but because I only like tequila. Now, do I only like tequila because that was kind of the one that I learned, I cut my teeth into?
Yeah.
Or or is it because I haven't tried anything else? Because I may go, you know what? Because I really want to try
you gotta try it.
I really want to try the blackened Metallica, the Metallica whiskey.
Yeah.
And you know why it's called blackened, the Metallica whiskey? Because the distiller who made it actually pumped Metallica music into
I saw that shit. Yes, I saw that.
into the warehouse, and the barrel, it was so loud, and the barrel's vibration, so the vibration would break loose, certain pieces of stuff, and so it was called, black and Metallica. I'm like, okay, first of all, I love Metallica, but second of all, that's an awesome thing to do.
So I had told both those guys, like, I'm gonna talk to DJ. Maybe one day we can do
gotta
like
do it. We gotta
do
I'm
an
sure he's
episode.
got lots of black in there, so
Yeah. But anyways, my friend Rob let me borrow this.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, and so Clase Azul apparently has been getting a lot of hype in even bourbon groups, so he ended up with this. I was there when he bought this, and that's when I bought Tears, so I was like, yeah, you can have that.
You know
I'll
what?
get the
That was a
Tears.
good day,
But he
so-
bought a bottle of Tears too. He was like, oh, I need to get that. I'll get the Tears.
Has he drunk that yet, or is it still sealed?
It's still sealed.
We need to go to his house after.
Yeah, we do. No, anyway, so this is it's the Reposado version. Again, Clase Azul super hyped right now. Beautiful bottle. All the bottles are hand painted.
Like I said, they look like my grandmother's pottery.
It's what they call an Altos.
Yeah.
It's an Altos tequila. So for people who don't know, like Altos is the what's the translation for it? It's the higher ground, basically.
Higher altitude?
Yeah. So Highland tequila. It's a Highland.
Yeah, instead of valley. Instead of in the valley.
So it's kind of, Tequila Jalisco is kind of like a valley.
Right.
And there's always like a beef between them. Like the Highland says that, like, our agave stresses out a little more, so it produces more sugar, more citrus. Yeah. And then the lowland tequilas are like, well, we get better water down here. Yeah. So our tequilas are more earthy, more, this kind of stuff. So it's a beef. I'll let them decide on that. I'm just here to
we're just gonna weigh in on the taste of it.
So this is
well, so far my favorite's been the El Tesoro.
Yeah,
so
same.
I agree. Comes out. But I was in Dallas. If everybody listening, I was in Dallas and I was with my son, and I was looking at. I got a good story for that El Tesoro. I was looking at a couple different brands. Here, you pour yourself, because
you might be hand there.
And by the way, El Tesoro, any day, any time, any environment, drink it.
Yes.
But I sent you guys a picture. I'm like, what do you guys think of this? And you were like, yes.
Yeah.
Let's try it. So I got it. But my son and I were in the aisle, and there was these two younger guys, maybe in college, and they had these two girls dressed with them, and they're dressed like they were going to prom. They're like in these pencil dresses, right? And we're walking by them, and I'm trying to get to the El Tesoro, but they're standing in front of it, and then one guy's hugging one of the girls, and he's like, how do you do it? And she's like, what are you talking about? And he goes, how do you look so beautiful? And she's like, oh, what? And it's like, orale. I literally out loud said, orale. And I grabbed the bottle and walked away.
That's me talking tequila, man. I had this bottle. I'm like, hey.
I'm like, dude, you see what she's wearing? She's a sure thing. Don't worry about it. Oh, that was not, delete that.
Holy
shit.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
That's sweet.
It is very sweet.
You taste chocolate?
Yes.
Thank
just
you.
like that vodka.
Just like the Volcano.
There's like chocolate caramel.
Wow. Thank you, caramel.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's a Werther's right there. That's
and you think like,
oh my
you get that sip and you're like, this is about to burn, and then it doesn't.
Wow.
Okay, I get the hype.
Wow, that's dangerous.
Those two right there are running. I don't even know. I can't pick. It's just two different flavors.
Yeah, but they're both like unique, so special.
God,
that's good.
Wow.
Holy shit. I tell Rob he might be missing half a bottle.
Yeah.
Oh no, bro, it broke. I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry.
That's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, don't break this.
We saved the bell for you.
Yeah.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to dump. We're going to take that arete.
Yeah, dump
it. Say, bro, it wasn't that good. Here, you try it. See what you think.
No, that is delicious.
Oh my,
It's smooth. You get that caramel chocolate. You get a little barrel. You think it's about to burn, but
where do you think that? Where does he think that caramel comes from, though?
No, dude, that's hard to place.
Is it just the sugars, the natural sugars?
It's got to be like the hype from the Highlands.
Okay,
yeah,
you know
the
what?
Highlands.
Here's the deal. It's the Highlands. Here's the deal.
It's the Highlands,
I have
man.
an app. I downloaded an app that has. And
we don't have a Jamie.
I'm not going to name.
I was thinking that. I was like, one day I need to bring my laptop.
One day I'll have a fucking Jamie, bro. We'll figure it out.
I'm not going to name the app, but I'm going to. It is a tequila app that. And okay, so reposado, and that's a reposado.
Yeah, that's not even a fucking Anejo, bro.
No, dude. I can't. I don't know if we can afford the Añejo.
I don't.
It's a tequila. So it's a Weber tequila, Jalisco and Los Altos. Stone brick, cooked in stone brick ovens. They use a roller mill to crush it, so probably just like a donkey, walking around on a roller mill.
Fucking stone that looks like this.
Yeah. And they ferment it in stainless steel tanks. They don't use copper. It's 2 times distilled. So, and it's in a but after they ferment it in the stainless steel, they distill it in the copper, and they put it in American white oak barrels.
That's where you get a little oak there, but where do we get the sweetness, man? It's got to be the agave.
Yeah,
it's got to be. Holy shit, that's good.
Yeah, so in basically, like, my knowledge on the Highlands, Los Altos, is what they say is that, like, it stresses the agave plant out more, so it produces, like, these sugars. Produces, like, these sugars, these chocolate caramel notes that you get in the agave.
I smell. I'm like,
so good.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy shit. You know what bothers me is that I've watched people, and this is going to be very embarrassing for me, but I have to be always blunt and honest. I feel like I was somewhere at a bar one evening and someone bought me a shot of this.
Yes.
To shoot it.
Yes.
And I didn't enjoy it because I didn't fucking actually taste it. Because they were just flaunting, their money, and they were like, "Hey, I'm gonna buy these shots." And I believe it was like. It was like $60-$70 a shot or some shit.
Yeah.
And they got it, and I'm almost positive I did take a shot of this, but I wasn't actually drinking it.
Right.
They were shooting it, and that's what pisses me off so bad. It's like these tequilas should not be in bars.
And I talked to my buddy Rodrigo, who owns Q Mexico, about this same thing, and
if you could smell this,
that is a thing that he said. Sometimes it's not worth it for me to get these hot shelf tequilas that people can appreciate because they're just gonna shoot it, or they're gonna be like, hey, will you make me whatever cocktail with that with the most expensive tequila you got, and it's like, dude, come on,
can you make me
that's like a chef
margarita?
That's like telling Gordon Ramsay to take his beef Wellington and dip it in au jus sauce. It's like why am I gonna take the time for you to experience these flavors if all you can do is put ketchup on it? No offense to my wife because she puts ketchup on the filet mignon that I make her, but wow.
It's like when someone comes up to me and asks, "You want any A1?" I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? I better not need any."
No.
I better not need any.
We're good over here.
I'll let you know in a second if I do. It's gonna be an issue, but.
Wow. It's
all right, man. I hate to be like too needy, but I feel like I need a little bit more of that.
Yeah, get you.
With having a little bit more because this shit is amazing.
Broke. He didn't know it broke. It broke on the way home, so I don't think this is gonna be anything
Rob,
left.
I really appreciate this.
Yeah, do you know how much you paid for that?
About $150.
That's a good price.
Yeah.
That's a very good price.
I paid a little over $100 for this Tesoro.
Yeah,
and it's worth it to me. But again, this is not one I would clean half off.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm pissed because I paid $110 for this Sun in the Moon. I mean,
no, that's good.
It's okay. It's okay.
But it's a work of art. Honestly,
balance them out. I mean, I feel like this is my thing is like it's not about the money, man. It's like there's a different flavor. Where do you drink this one at?
This one?
Oh,
okay. This one?
Yes.
You hadn't seen your boys in 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you all decided to get together. One of your buddies brought some Cuban cigars.
Yeah.
One of your buddies brought some, some food or something, some cookies his grandmother made. But this is one of those things where drinking
so sweet on the nose.
Drinking it is an enjoyment.
Yeah.
So you're not like, okay, let me finish this drink so we can keep talking. It's like, no, let me savor this drink. Let me slowly enjoy this drink, and let's enjoy we spend our time together. Because how many times does a good time go by too fast? This is something that you want to.
Yeah, it hangs on.
Yeah. Let me ask. So we're going back on like expensive shots. Has anybody ever had 1942?
Yes, I have.
Thoughts on that?
I'm not a fan.
I think I talked about it one time. We were in Austin, and we had the Lamborghini, the Ferrari, and the GTR. And some guy just bought them for us because he liked the cars.
Yeah.
And I tried it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he paid about probably $40 a shot. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
It was nothing.
No, it's nothing compared to
Right.
that.
Okay. Because I have a bottle at home. It's a half of a bottle.
Yeah.
And I've never actually like opened it and just sipped it.
I feel like that's the thing.
Yeah, we were talking about expensive bottles. Like, so at my bachelor party, my one of my good friends, Josh, was like, "Hey, man, what if you would buy a bottle of tequila, which I know you love? Which one should I get you?" And I was like, "Man, you're cool. You have to get me nothing." He's like, "What's the bottle of tequila that you want to try?" And I was like, 1942. I just want to try it. I just want to see what it's about, what the hype is about. So,
is it real tall?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was made by
Don Julio.
Don Julio.
Yeah,
Yes, I've definitely had it. But
Yeah.
as you said, I've had it in a shot.
Yeah. So he buys that, and so the party bus arrives for this my bachelor party, and everybody. I was like, "All right, everybody, appreciate y'all coming. You give the whole speech. You're like my boys, my brothers. I'm done for. Rest in peace." No, just no, sorry. I love my wife. I do. But and I was like, "Let's take a shot of something." We have all these stuff, and everybody, of course, is like 1942. So now I'm handing out 15 1942 shots, and it's
And by then they don't even taste it because
I was like, "Bro, we could have done the husband," but everybody had to have the 19.
And it happens. It happens.
Think about this. What if this was the first thing we tasted?
I don't know.
How would you?
That's why I always wanted to save the best for last. Yeah. I'm scared to taste the first and then everything be horrible after. Because that's why I'm glad we start in order of what we think is important, because I feel like we're gonna take. All right, we're gonna taste this again at the end. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Come on.
All right, just pee in a cup and
because the thing is like if you start with the best,
we did the same thing.
Then you're not gonna appreciate the distinctive flavors of everything on the way up. It's almost like the grind.
What is that other smell? It's not caramel.
It's almost like marshmallowy kind of.
Yeah, it's like a toasted marshmallow kind of.
Fucking s'more, man. God, it's good.
What does that smell? Nutmeg, maybe? No, not nutmeg.
It is.
Mine was too strong. Maybe.
Delicioso for sure.
It's not anise. It's not bitter like anise. It's.
There's no. Like, I can taste a little bit of wood, but not much. Not much. It's just pure, like, s'more. I feel like it's just, like, toasted marshmallow all the way through.
Subtle burn, like nothing.
That's a toasted marshmallow right there. Yeah. That's what that is. Wow.
We gotta start leaving real reviews in these tequila. Everyone who's listening and watching, we're now on these tequila groups with these, Freddish stares of this fucking tequila shit.
Yeah.
And I see them leaving all these things. I'm like, let's just keep it real. Just like toasted marshmallows.
Yeah.
There's something on the head with a note of this at the end of
this. You know what I'm gonna say? What this is like? Okay, as an artist, I'm gonna say this is what it's like. There's what's called the artist line, or the educational line of paints, okay?
Yeah.
And then there's what's called the artist line of paints, and there's what's called the professional line of paints. I can take a paintbrush and I can do this, and I can go like this, and I can see ridges in the paint on the one for the schools and stuff. And then I'll do it's a little bit smoother when I do it for the artist. When I do the top of the line stuff, it's like butter. I'm spreading butter on a canvas. This is like spreading butter on a canvas, because the smoothness of it, the subtlety of it, nothing jumps out at you.
Yeah.
Everything is balanced for you, and I think that's what makes this real good, is the balance in all fairness. Because you can tell yourself, okay, you know what? Right now I want to taste the sweetness. I taste the sweetness. Mm-hmm. Right now I want to taste a little bit of the oak. I can taste it.
That's a good point.
You can pick out what you want. Kind of like when you listen, if you're a musician and you're a drummer, you hear the drums when you listen to the song. If you're a guitarist, you hear the guitar. Yeah. When you listen to this, you can actually pick out what elements you want to enjoy.
Dude, and the art behind that, for someone to distill something, know that we're going to put it in this type of barrel for this amount of time, and we're going to get these.
Yeah, that's a craft.
Yeah.
That's up there with tears.
Yeah.
That one's up there
and
with tears.
I bet they...
it's just a different flavor, but it is up there.
And I bet I bet there's distillers that go around, they tap a barrel, and they just have a sip, and they're like, yeah, that's not it.
It's not ready yet. Yeah, it's not ready. And we're going to wait till it's ready. How's that job?
That's crazy.
Bro, that's the job I want. I saw a thing on how it's made, and they had the guy, he's like, oh, his job is to taste tequila all day. I'm like, man, I don't know when he met the devil and sold his soul, but...
I mean, at that point, then, it sounds like a great job. At the end of the day, it's all disappointment until you hit one solution. Yeah. I feel like I wouldn't enjoy that as much.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's the funny thing, because I used to paint cars for a living, and I owned a auto body shop that was mobile.
Yeah,
it's a franchise, and I would go to car dealerships, and I would say, okay, well, instead of you having to send that car out for 4 days to the body shop, I can take care of it for you in 1 day.
Yeah,
and I would do that, and I would just do exactly like a body shop, but I'd come to them. Now I can't look at a car without looking at the side toe and go, okay, that car's been painted.
Yep.
I can see a little bit of fisheye in it. I can see a little bit of side tone. I can see a little bit of orange peel.
Yeah.
I can't look at a car and not go, oh my God, that's been painted. Yeah. And even I went to Lexus one time. I really wanted a Lexus, really, really bad. And the general manager was a friend of mine at the time. And there was this nice GS that I really liked. Like, perfect, I'll take it. Right? And so the salesman, who was also a friend of mine, went, so we're going to take it. I'm like, but I want you to do me a favor. Say, can you find out why this rear door was painted? He's like, yeah, I'll find out for you, because there was one tiny red dot in the black paint. Okay, I'm like, okay, that's not a factory thing. That wasn't, maybe those things. I said, and all I care about is just, I'm going to buy it. Just tell me why. The general manager was like, that car hasn't been painted. I'm like, bro, but it has. Like, no, it's not been painted, because if it was painted, it wouldn't be on our blah blah blah. And she started going off on this thing. He goes, I guarantee you it's not. He goes, we'll pull up the Carfax, and if it shows that it's never been painted, you're going to buy the car. I said, I agree. As long as you agree that if it says that it was painted, you're going to give it to me. He's like, well, I can't do that. I said, then how can you say 100% the car hadn't been painted? Yeah. You don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So and I felt so bad because my friend who was a salesman lost out on a sale because he said, you know what? I'm out.
Yeah.
And I went to Infinity, and they treated me so good. And every car I've bought since then has been an Infinity. But again, that's where you go to the point of saying, okay, could you just do me a favor and look? Don't tell me no beforehand.
Right.
You know, so I can't look at a car without seeing it's been painted. So I can't ever drink tequila again after this.
It's a gift and the curse.
I'm that way with beer, man. Like I
wish I could be a beer connoisseur, dude. I grew up. Fuck, we all grew up in the same area.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. You and I did, and it's like I grew up drinking the worst shit, and like I just got a taste for bourbon and got away from beer because I just hated.
Dude, I'll be honest with
all the
you.
shitty stuff we drank all the time.
I hope I don't get hated on for this comment, but like sometimes, like, I won't buy anything that's not like craft or like, but. Yeah. I've been to like we'll go to a bachelor party or something and they throw me a beer, and sometimes it's nice to just enjoy a fucking when we go to Texas, like a Lone Star, like I love a fucking Lone Star
because you know what you're gonna get.
Yeah,
you don't pick it apart. You're not picking it apart. You're like, that's why. And you know what? That's why we go to McDonald's. Because we know that the Big Mac is going to taste a certain way. We're gonna feel bad about it afterwards, but we're still going to do it.
And every time I go to these craft breweries, I'm legit picking these beers apart for good and bad. Yeah. And it's like, oh man, how did they get this in here? Like that's cool. Or I'm like, man, they messed something up here type thing.
You mentioned we're gonna wrap up here in a second, guys, because we're already like an hour and a half. Fuck, I want to keep going, but all right,
we'll keep going. We'll just turn it off.
You mentioned Rodrigo earlier, and we'll definitely get him on next show because we're talking about doing a Mescal episode. So let's just add him in the fucking mix, man. Let's do it.
I'll talk to him and we could do something he's the Mescal expert.
Just like playing drums.
I don't know anything about it. I'm down to try it.
Just like playing drums, I taught myself about tequila. Yeah. Because when I first started, I bought the 1800 and I bought the mix and I bought the lime and I bought this and I didn't like it. Yeah. I'm like, okay, this is not good. This is not what I remember having when I went to to the Mexican restaurant or something. It didn't taste right. And so over time, I developed the palate, I developed the thing, and I realized, okay, certain tequilas I don't mix with anything because by itself, room temperature, this doesn't have to be chilled. Room temperature by itself, any time, it's worth enjoying.
Yeah. And that's something I thought about too, because the first 2 episodes we did, I brought ice, and I was like, I don't need fucking ice. This is real shit, man. Yeah. Like I don't need ice anymore. I don't need anything but a cup. Yeah. Hell yeah,
man.
Well,
good shit, guys.
Any final thoughts, man? Anything you want to talk about that we haven't yet? We still got some time. I just don't want to roll. We can roll for 5 fucking hours.
I'm ready. We need to keep doing this, man, for sure.
Oh, yes.
Well, I honestly think if you post this somewhere and people have, there's a comment section, people please put in what you would like us to try.
Yeah.
Because all the 3 of us are like, okay, what should we try? And we're only going on our own personal thing. But maybe somebody be like, you know what? I've always wanted to try Patron honey. Yeah. I've always wanted, I've always wanted to try, something like that. And
hey, I'll fucking do it if someone asks.
But that thing is, let's find out.
Didn't I give you some Patron Anejo?
You gave me some. It was honey. It was a Patron honey.
Was it worth a fuck?
It was good.
Okay.
It was good.
I never tried
I could taste the honey.
I never tried
it. It was good. I drank it. It was good. It wasn't this.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was more of a bachelorette party tequila.
Yeah.
It's more like, hey, let's put some honey and some tequila and see who buys it.
Right.
It wasn't Corlejo, and I will tell you this. What's really interesting is I love Corlejo so much, and when I got on one of those groups to hear people.
Oh, they hate on
piss on it so hard.
They do, man.
I'm like, bro,
I don't know
really?
About these groups, man. Like,
And what's funny is they're all fucking gabachos that are doing it. That's white people, for those of you who don't know. They're all pendejo gabachos saying, oh, this, that, and then they show a picture of their collection, and they've got 4 bottles of this, 6 bottles of that, and they're all inside of a cabinet. None of them are open. Well, you know what? That's like telling me you know about sex, but you ain't never been in the harem room because you ain't never gone in there, okay? So don't tell me what you think. I want to know if you drank it.
No shit. No, I feel you. No, look, that's what I've noticed about that. I'll join some bourbon collectors because I still have some really nice bourbon. And if we do that bourbon show, I have a really nice bourbon that we can open up for that one. I've been holding on. It's about a $300 bottle I've had for about 5 years now. Dude, I'm down for this shit. We'll keep it rolling. I think that
I have one question though.
Yeah.
Okay. What I want to know is, do the listeners want to hear us only talk about tequila, or do they want to hear us talk about things that tequila makes us talk about?
I feel like that if this was just a review podcast, then we would have a different demographic. I feel like these people enjoy hearing about, because I feel like once
we
you
talk
start
about life and stuff.
When you start drinking, you actually have real conversation. That's what we still enjoy about alcohol, right? It's like when you get together with your homies, you drink, you have a good time, you let loose, like all the stressors go away, and we have real conversation, and that's what I enjoy.
What from my childhood is this smell in this tequila? There's a smell in this tequila from my childhood. I don't know if maybe it was elementary school, maybe it was a candy treat I got at the end of a t-ball game at the concession stand.
You got a different childhood than me, so I'm not sure.
There's a flavor in here that takes me back. And maybe it was
making me drink more, man.
You know what? And maybe it was because I grew up. I spent summers with my grandparents. It could be.
Maybe it's a mix of a churro and some tequila. I don't know, man. It's
the first time I had a churro was when I went to Disneyland, and I was like, "Ooh, what is this?" And my mom's like, "It's a churro. Don't worry about it." Because we called them rosettes, or we called them sopapillas. That were fried, but. There's a flavor and there's a feeling in this tequila, and I gotta love Jose because he's brought 2 types of tequilas that have made me really not just enjoy but think about what is it specifically about this that I'm enjoying so much.
Yeah.
It's not just the fact that it tastes like caramel. It's just not the fact that the Tears of Llorona, reminding me of a Christmas fireplace. There's something specifically in each of these tequilas that I'm drawn to.
Yeah.
And I'm almost like Indiana Jones trying to figure out what is it about.
This one is definitely like, for me, I just keep going back to like toasted marshmallow, man. That's like what I keep going.
And I hate marshmallows.
I don't like marshmallows either.
There's a sweetness to it, man. That's just.
But it's not a sugar sweet.
Yeah.
It's not a bizcocho sweet.
Yeah.
It's almost like a sugar. It's almost like a sugar cinnamon kind of sweet. It's a holiday flavor. It's not something you get every day.
Right.
As my wife would say, it's like the buntinis that she gets at the Nothing Bunt Cake. The pumpkin buntinis.
It's really good.
But it's gorgeous. It is. I don't know. Honestly, want to say, I kind of like this better than Tears.
I do too. I think here's my thing. I like it, but I think is Tears from the Valley.
I don't know.
I think it is, dude. I feel like it is because it's 2 completely different flavors.
But but Tears is the multiple barrels kind of.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like I think 5 years, right?
Yeah.
I like they're really
This
good.
is just a reposado. Can you imagine?
Oh my God, this is just a reposado. Okay,
Hey, if anyone wants to donate a bottle of this to Anejo, we'll take it. And we'll try
if you would like to donate
if you'd like
a
to
bottle of
donate,
your Añejo so we can review.
we will most definitely give you our utmost honest opinion because this shit right here is amazing. And I still I'm 99% sure that I've had this in a shot and I absolutely did not appreciate it because some dumbass just bought it and said, "Hey, we're gonna shoot this."
With the most expensive tequila you got.
It even pisses me off more now thinking about that.
And it's gorgeous.
It was just I might as well just had this Arret, that was fucking $40.
It's absolutely gorgeous too. It looks like the Pharaoh had it on his throne.
And all those bottles are handcrafted, which is wild.
Well, now I'm gonna have to buy a different thing when I go to Dallas.
Look, guys, Always a pleasure.
Bro, I
Let's
love
rock
you
some
so
stuff.
much. Thank you so much for that.
Last thoughts. Any last thoughts?
Well, I tell you what, I've been working harder than a Mexican roofer after a hailstorm. So today, spending time, again, this is worth spending time with you and enjoying it. And thank you both for the time. And if y'all are going to drink responsibly, but enjoy it and drink for a reason. So.
Yep. Expand your palate. Just get out there and try some good stuff and see what you can. I know we sound like total nerds out here. We're like, I'll pick up this and I'll pick up this, but you'd be, and the thing about it is sometimes people are afraid to say like, oh, I taste this and this. Yeah. You're not wrong. It's your palate. That's what you're tasting.
Thank you.
That's
you're
what
not wrong. If you like it, like it. Who gives a shit what anybody else says?
Okay.
If you like it, like it.
Yeah.
And don't apologize for it. Don't try to say, well, this is why. Because you live your life and you enjoy it, enjoy it.
Hey, we'll leave it right there. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome.
All right, brother.